Our kidneys play many important roles in keeping the bodies balanced. They remove waste and toxins from the body, they make the hormones that produce red blood cells, and they also turn vitamin D into its active form to be used up by the body to support immune functions. Now imagine what happens when the kidneys can no longer perform these functions. And the sad part is there are no outward signs at the earlier stages of kidney failure. And so a person whose kidney is failing might not know except it is being checked. On the show today, we're going to be talking about chronic kidney disease and we'll understand how it leads to end-stage renal failure. Hi Saints, my name is Marianne Ushi and this is Catholic Faith Forum. We'll go on a short break right now and when we get back, you'll be meeting my guests, so do not go anywhere. Welcome back, Saints. This is Catholic Faith Forum and our topic for today is chronic kidney disease. Now, this topic is, a little bit personal to me. I have a very wonderful guest here today who is going to throw light on this topic so that we understand how it comes about and how to deal with it. She is Dr. Grace Amoge Ikpa. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I hope I got your name.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Thank you. Yes, Dr. Grace is a medical doctor with more than 7 years experience. She's a devout Catholic and her hobbies are traveling, reading, volunteering, teaching, and meeting new people. I just want to say thank you for volunteering to do this as well.
You're welcome.
All right, you look so amazing. I love the red lipstick, gold hair. Oh my gosh, you look like money. Hey. How is it being a doctor?
It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Some days.
Some days.
Some days it's service.
Service.
Other days it's sacrifice. So it's a mix of everything.
But then you love it.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Because we have a lot of parents who push their children to, study medicine. You must become a doctor, especially
I love
in
the
Igbo
teaching
land.
part of medicine.
Where
you talk to patients, you talk to them, you explain to them, and they're happy, and you're happy, and they're well, and you're happy. So
okay, so which parts do you not love?
The parts where you have to say, well, you know what, we've tried our best, but we're sorry.
I know it can be difficult to be in that position. But yeah, all around, you're good. Mm-hmm. That's great. So, all of you that still want to become medical doctors, she's encouraging.
But it's very fulfilling, no. Forget that we don't have money. No, forget that we don't have money. Forget that we don't have money. But I mean, medicine is fulfilling. Yes, you don't have so much money. But then some people have a lot of money. So
I think it depends
plenty of planning and smartness and stuff you want to do. But in some places you have a lot of money. But even here that you don't have so much money, it's also still fulfilling to an extent.
I feel like for medical doctors, the first thing is that you should be interested in saving lives. And when you can do that, you have a fulfilled life. Okay.
But you still need money.
You still need money?
Continue.
Sure, you still need money.
Mm-hmm.
Even me, I'm sitting here now saying I love my job as a presenter, I still need the money.
Yeah.
Okay, so our topic today is chronic kidney disease. So how would you explain or define chronic kidney disease in layman's term? Let's put it that way. How would you describe it to a 5-year-old, a 10-year-old?
Chronic, long-term. So it's basically long-term kidney disease. So it's been there. It's grown over time. It's just been there. So we usually would say chronic kidney disease is when there's been a loss in renal function over more than 3 months.
Okay. So how does this lead to kidney failure?
So you know how it's like your car starts to break down. You don't fix it. You keep managing it. You manage. One day it just breaks down and you can't move anymore. That's the same thing that happens. Because in chronic kidney disease, at the beginning, there's no sign. There's nothing. Yeah. But the kidneys are not working and are not working as well. So if you do like kidney function tests, you'd start saying, oh, this marker is a bit faulty, this marker. And then if you don't, at that point, start medications, start lifestyle changes, then before you know what's happening, those markers just keep reducing. And then one kidney shuts down. Yeah. And then if they're both not damaged, one shuts down first. Over time, the other fails. But sometimes they fail together.
But when the one shuts down, you start getting signs.
The thing is, you don't even know. So when one kidney fails, how the kidney, because there are two, they support each other.
Yes.
So you don't know that this is faulty until this one starts to show signs of being overworked.
Yeah.
So
Sad. So what could actually cause this, or what are the risk factors that lead to, kidney diseases?
I don't have beef against Abo, but it's one of them.
Disclaimer.
I don't have any personal beef against herbal concussions, but I always tell people that if you don't know what is in it, don't drink it. Because there are many things that people mix that eventually will lead to kidney failure, liver failure over time, because they are toxins. And yes, my work is to, as the kidney will say, my work is to remove dirt.
Yeah.
But don't kill me.
Yeah.
Like don't give me things that will now harm me, and then I will not be able to do my work anymore. So that's what most of these things do. And because sometimes when people make all those herbal concussions, they put other medications inside. So that if it was just that, they would make herbal concussions and that, okay, this is just ginger, lemon, and something, or one root and one herb, and that is it.
Yeah. But
sometimes they'll put other medications, real orthodox medicines, in those concussions. And these things eventually would affect the kidneys. Apart from that, you have, now excessive alcohol affects the kidneys. So you have, and then the other things that will affect the kidneys, diabetes, hypertension. Some people are born with kidney problems congenitally.
Oh my.
So they're born with it. In fact, when you see kidney failure in children or younger people, they are more often due to congenital problems. So they're born with either one kidney not working from birth, or they're born with like a problem with their urinary system such that the kidneys are overworked and fail early. Or you now have, but in older people, because for most people with CKD, you find in older people, it's more of a lifestyle or a complication from diabetes or hypertension. Poorly controlled diabetes and poorly controlled hypertension. Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, thank you very much for educating us on the various causes. I think for the ones that we can deal with, I think it's important that we know that these things could lead to certain things. I mean, I see a lot of people on the road selling different concoctions. Some are alcoholic even. And those ones that they tie in nylons and all that. And I shake my head, just randomly shaking my head, because normally I don't like, buying certain things on the road and all of that. But then knowing that these things can actually now even affect your kidneys, I think it's something that a lot of people need to take note of. So since we don't know when the kidneys are failing, like let's say one is already failing and there are no outward signs, no symptoms at the early stages, does it now mean that we need to constantly monitor our kidneys? Because I don't think that I've gone for any kidney checkup all my life.
Well, usually, so what we say is you do like a kidney test once a year. So there's a number of tests that together are called kidney function tests. Okay. So usually if you have like a good health insurance plan, they would usually do like one every year for you. So you do an annual medical check where they do a kidney function test, a liver function test, there are other chest x-ray, regular things, and then once a year, really.
Once a year. Okay, so there you have it. It's not just to say you have malaria and then you're going to the hospital for random medical checks or whatever. It's also important that you have the kidney function test. All right, it's time for us to check out who our saint of the week is. Do not go anywhere. The conversation continues.
Our saint of the week is Saint Anastasia the Patrician. Anastasia was born in the 6th century and lived during the reign of Emperor Justinian and Theodora. Usually, someone acquired the title of patrician, especially a woman, because of being a widow, having lost her husband somehow, and the husband title passed down to her. But in Anastasia's case, as one who had been brought up in the fear of the Lord and loved him greatly, she was given this title because of her great almsgiving and the things that she did for the people of Constantinople. She was admired by everyone, including the emperor, and did much good in her own small way in the realm in which she lived. However, the devil puts the spirit of envy into Theodora's heart. This greatly grieved Anastasia because she loved both the emperor and the empress. But yet, the empress Theodora, despite all that she had and all the things that she actually did for the people of Constantinople, she was very much jealous of Anastasia. Anastasia, on realizing this, decided that for the sake of all, for the sake of removing the envy from Theodora's heart, that she would leave Constantinople forever. This she did, deciding to dedicate her years to the service of the Lord in prayer and in fasting and in great ascetic efforts in the desert. She went to the outskirts of Alexandria in Egypt, about 5 miles out, and contacted Daniel of Scetis, who would later be known as Saint Daniel of Scetis. And she asked him what to do. She was quite fearful about what was going on. So Daniel said to her, "Look, I'm going to give you a rule, and you follow this rule for the rest of your life." Now, about that time, the Emperor Justinian lost his wife Theodora at the age of 40, and he remembered Anastasia and all the wonderful works that she had done. So he sent people out all over the empire, including even the Patriarch of Alexandria, to search for her, to bring her back to Constantinople. Anastasia was distraught at this. So again, she asked Saint Daniel what to do. And Saint Daniel said to her, he would be willing to help her. He clothed her in monastic garb and gave her the name Anastasios, the monk. So she would live as though she were a man, yet she lived alone. She was sent about 28 miles away into a cave and would live there and be delivered water by a servant of Saint Daniel, who would also bring her other provisions and food from time to time. She lived for 28 years in that place, in great ascetical efforts. As her hagiography says, who can even begin to describe the trials and tribulations that she went through and her amazing closeness to God in that time? As her time was finally drawing near, she sent word to the monk who was bringing her provisions to tell Saint Daniel that she was not going to live much longer. So Saint Daniel and the monk both gathered together and went to the cave where Saint Anastasios was living, and she was at that point still alive. They both blessed each other and gave other many imitations of grace for the Lord. And then finally, Anastasios, who was now revealed as Anastasia upon her death, reposed in the Lord with a face of brightness, and as it is said, seeing angels to gather her together. Saint Daniel and his servants and cellmates then decided on that day that they would dispense from their fasting in celebration of this great woman's death, who went on to the Lord. Her feast day is celebrated on the 10th of March. Saint Anastasia the Patrician, pray for us.
Welcome back, saints. I hope that you emulate the life of the saints. All right, Dr. Grace. So before the break, you talked about chronic kidney disease. We talked about how it can be gotten, let's say the causes, the risk factors, and then you also explained the need for us to do at least a kidney function test every year. So now, when the kidneys start failing and then the symptoms start coming out, how do we know that, okay, this is kidney failure? What are the symptoms of kidney failure?
So the most common symptoms are swellings. So you know how, when people wake up, they have like facial swelling.
Yeah.
Then facial swelling, leg swelling, abdominal swelling, depending on the extent of the damage. You know, because the kidney's function is to remove waste. And in removing waste, it removes fluid.
Okay.
So when it starts to fail, you start to accumulate fluid.
Okay.
So they wake up, like they can have facial puffiness, both legs are swollen. Then they have like other parts of their body swollen. That's like one of the very first signs. I mean, when you're ready, and by note that at that time, it's now,
almost end stage.
Well, let's say your kidney function has gone down maybe up to 50%.
Okay.
It's like,
yeah,
it's already getting bad. Because for most people, you will not see, or in fact, you would incidentally find it from their kidney function test that these parameters are going down.
Yeah.
But when it gets to that point where you're already seeing it facially, you're seeing it, then it's getting really bad.
Okay, so what are the stages of chronic kidney disease now? I'm eager to know.
There are like 4 stages.
Okay.
But for most people, stage 1, stage 2, you don't see anything.
Yeah.
By stage 3, because we have this thing that we measure, we call it glomerular function. So
glomerular function.
Yes, because the kidney has like the things that filter are called like the glomerulus. They're like round. Let me not describe them. But they're the things that filter. So when they're not filtering as much, and then you start seeing protein in the urine, the urine starts to be frothy. Like when you pour beer.
Okay.
That
the
froth.
foam.
That foam. That's frothy.
Lay people call it foam.
Frothy. That's the froth. So you start having that frothy urine. So you start seeing more protein in the urine because, of course, it's failing and it's no longer when it filters. Normally, what it does is it keeps back protein and takes out water and salt. I mean, waste in liquid form and salt. By the time the kidney is having problems, now it's no longer able to take back proteins. So it starts to lose protein along with the waste water and salt. So you start to see protein in the urine. At that point, the kidney is already getting even worse. And then, so when you have that already, and you're looking at, you now start calculating because there's like 80%. Normally, you should have like more than 90% normally. But as it gets below 90%, below 80%, by the time you're talking about real severe kidney failure, you're getting like 50%, less than 50% or less than 50%.
Yeah.
And then you're really getting more worried because you know that if you keep going, you might get to a point 30, you start in dialysis. As it keeps going less and less, you now start considering dialysis.
Okay, but the earlier stages, let's say stage 1 and stage 2, if it is noticed at those earlier stages, can it be treated? Can it be cured?
Cured, no. But what we try to do is reduce the rate. So you know how if something is spoiling, you want to slow down the progression. So you first identify what is causing this kidney to, what is causing. So if it's, for example, diabetes-induced chronic kidney disease, then you want to control diabetes. If hypertension-induced, you want to control hypertension. If there is a congenital problem, you want to treat the problem. See how to find the solution to the problem. Because when you treat the offender, then you sort of slow down the process of that illness progression. But that's really the most important thing. So you're just trying to make sure that you are controlling the cause of the failure.
But then the kidney is already bad.
Well, you manage it. Till you can no longer manage it.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for that. It's time for us to...
I know it sounds very sad that you're managing it.
I don't even know what to say at this point. But yeah, let's head over to our KYF crew for the Know Your Faith session.
Hi fam, I am Elefachi. If you're just joining us for the first time, you're specially welcome. And if you've been here, it's good to have you back again. This is Know Your Faith series, home of Catholic doctrines. Today, we'll be looking at the differences between a cross and crucifix. The cross, also often called the Christian or Roman cross, is widely known as a symbol of Christianity. It refers to an upfront structure with transverse beams that were used by ancient Romans to perform execution. Previously seen as a sign of death and execution, the cross is now a symbol of love, sacrifice, and most importantly, resurrection and salvation. The crucifix, on the other hand, is also a symbol of Christianity, which serves as the commemoration of the atonement. Crucifix crosses are regular crosses that also depict Christ's body nailed to the cross. These crosses deliver a visual representation of Jesus' hanging and being sacrificed on the cross for our sins. The emblem of Christ on the cross reminds us of the pain and suffering that he endured to bring us such great salvation. Two major differences between a cross and crucifix include: 1. The simple cross only represents the pain and suffering of Jesus, while the crucifix focuses more on the resurrection of our Lord. 2. A Christian cross is simply a T-shaped symbol. Whereas a crucifix has a cross with the image of Christ's body. I trust you can now differentiate between a cross and a crucifix when next you see one. And that's all I have for you on today's show. And please subscribe if you haven't. Like and share this video. Until next time, be bold, be Catholic.
Thank you very much, KYF crew, for that session of faith. All right, back to our conversation. Chronic kidney disease. Before the break, you gave me a hard blow, but we move. All right. When should a person seek medical intervention?
So I always tell people that the moment you notice that you have a leg swelling that you don't understand, go to the hospital. You know how some people have leg swellings from other things, really, maybe sitting for long, or it's just familial. But then it's better you come and we say, oh, it's nothing. Your kidneys are fine, your liver is fine. It could just be your posture. Just go in peace and come and see us next year. So come once a year going forward. But then the moment you notice that, or you notice suddenly that your urine is unusual, then, but for most people, before you get to that urine part, they already start to like accumulate fluid gradually. So their legs swell up a bit now and then. So it's good to come.
So the swelling is the first symptom?
Yes, for some people, they have that swelling because most people don't notice the urine part until we test the urine. So it's like, okay, give us a urine sample. Are there protein in your urine, that kind of thing. But most people would not know there's protein in their urine because even if they see a frothy urine, they would assume that it's because today's only just foaming and nothing extra.
Okay. So I think from what you've said, you diagnose it from the urine.
No. Blood test. So diagnosis is now like more technical. It's more, but I'm saying like the lay person, you would not ordinarily know if you have kidney problem or not. What you might just see is that my leg is swelling. My face, when I wake up in the morning, my face is swollen. What's happening to me? I look fatter. Just,
so you know that
just like that.
You should go to
so
the
you should just go to the hospital. So they will now like run different tests, ask you many questions, find out if you have risk factors, and then if you now do a kidney function test, are your kidney parameters are deranged? They will now say, okay, what's the next thing to do? So based on what they now find at that point, they can now take it up from there.
Okay. Thank you very much for that clarification. So what are the available treatments for chronic kidney disease?
For now, we have medications. And then as it gets worse, because, medications in the sense that, you're looking at kidney function and saying, okay, so now that this kidney function is reducing, which actions of the kidney are we no longer able to execute very well? So say red blood cells are going down, you want to give erythropoietin as injections. You just want to do that. And then when you now see that the kidney is not filtering as much, then you're considering dialysis. That's the next option. And because dialysis is not sustainable long term, usually by the time you get to dialysis, transplants are your next most beneficial option. Because dialysis are expensive. Yes. They are not cost effective at all. In the past, like 6 years ago when I finished, when I was working in Lowe's, dialysis was 40,000 for one episode.
I know it's about.
But now the Lord knows how much it would cost, and then ordinarily a person would need one every other day.
True.
So if in a week, in every other day, it will be like 4 times a week, 3 to 4 times a week, times 1 month. That's like 160K every week times 1 month.
It's a lot of financial.
So it's a lot of So the financial burden is a lot, and that is even Lutz is like supposed to be affordable.
Exactly.
But if you go to other places that are less affordable, then you can be going into crazy.
So are there alternatives to dialysis?
I wish there were.
So it has to be dialysis.
It has to be dialysis.
Or you go for the transplant.
Or you do a transplant.
So, but then how long can a person survive on dialysis?
As long as you can keep paying for it. At least, so the trick is, if it's not, so you know how we keep checking, I should keep doing dialysis. Of course, we're checking kidney function in that, but we're checking the amount of urea and creatinine, which are like the markers for the waste. So if a person can pay for regular dialysis and is able to still keep doing it, till usually we'd say till you can get a transplant, because it's not practical to continue it for life.
But then roughly in Nigeria, how much would a transplant cost?
Well, so the person I know who had a transplant done in Nigeria, it cost us 11 to 13 million. Wow. But that was 2020. So you have to factor in inflation and everything else. But really, and he's doing very well. He's working.
So like after the transplant, like when they get one kidney from the transplant,
Yes.
Yeah.
Just
so
get one.
when they now can function properly.
Yes, you can function on one kidney. Which is why
And
people who are
it doesn't
born with
affect
one
their
faulty
lifespan.
kidney don't realize till the second one has a problem. You can
But
function
then
on one
since
kidney.
it's just one kidney that is now carrying all the burden, won't it now reduce the lifespan of,
No.
let's say the person maybe was destined to live 70 years. I'm just saying.
If the kidney, so this person I know at least, if the kidney fails, you can get another kidney. You can do another transplant. Yes, because you also need to be on some medications post-transplant so that your body does not reject the kidney that you got.
True.
So, but if it fails and you have people who can afford to raise money too, you can
but
do
then
another
basically
transplant.
the point I wanted to make is that after the transplant, they can live normal lives.
Yes, very normal life.
All right, cool. So before I let you go and just to wrap up the conversation, how can those with CKD, let me call it that, or kidney failure live with the condition? Are there certain foods that they have to eat, lifestyle habits?
CKD and kidney failure are a bit different though. CKD is like you're still functioning. Kidney failure is already like end stage thing.
Yeah.
So with kidney failure, with CKD, I mean, most times is your diet. You're looking at things that based on the cause. So if it's diabetes, you're trying to control diabetes. If it's hypertension, you're controlling hypertension, as well as monitoring the things you're eating. The best thing for most people would be to get a dietitian. Because at least they understand that, okay, this is the disease and these are things that you should avoid in this disease, and then they can plan do a meal plan for the person more easily, and that is tailored to that person. So
any lifestyle changes that they need to make?
Cut alcohol, don't take any herbal. In fact, once you know that you have kidney problem, don't ever take herbal drink in your life again. Leave it alone.
Yes, something.
I don't have anything against herbal drink, but I've seen people that you ask them what is in the drink you're taking, they don't know. But then young men especially, they drink all sorts, and then you see many young men having kidney failures now. I mean, in the last few years, I've seen like many young men, like more than 10. They're in their 30s, they have kidney failure. And when you check, they didn't seem to have had anything that was congenital. That's okay, that's what caused the failure now. It's most likely a lifestyle thing, alcohol and drinks that you don't know the head and tail of. When you go to party, you're mixing all sorts of things and they're healing you and you're feeling good. So it's not beef, it's just that it's the real problem that we have.
Yeah, I get you.
Those things.
I get you. Thank you very much, Dr. Grace.
Welcome.
It's been amazing having you here.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, there you have it. Chronic kidney disease and kidney failure. It's a sad one, yes, but it's very important that we take the lessons from the conversation. Make sure that you avoid taking in things that you do not understand. Like she has said, agbo, concoction, all of that. Excessive alcohol, kindly reduce it. And if you find out that you are at a risk of having it, maybe due to some certain underlying conditions, please try as much as possible to manage those conditions. And do not forget that another medical check that you need to do every year is a kidney function test. That's our show for today. Don't forget to follow us on social media at CFF on TV. We're also on YouTube at Dominican Media. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Do it and turn on notification. Yes. All right. Share this video to your friends and family. Drop a comment if you have any comments, and we'll be sure to read your comments. Until next time, I remain Marianne Ushi. Keep being saints in jeans and shirts. Bye.